Hello and welcome back to the Fermented World Homebrew channel. Today, we're going to be putting this Mangrove Jack's mead yeast, which is the yeast that I normally use. I am going to be trying new yeasts once I finish this batch that I've got here. Now, this states that it can ferment 23 litres of must. Must is the honey water before it's transferred into mead and the alcohol's in there. It is a bold statement to say that it could do 23 litres, because that's like up here. This is a big bucket that I used to brew malt extract kits in. I now do all grain on a bit of a smaller level, about half of what that is. But yeah, we're going to be making a lot of mead. So I've got 10 bottles of my go-to honey, cheapest chips, blossom honey. It's blended probably, but you know what? It's okay because it's only me who drinks it. I'm not selling it, so it doesn't matter. So in each batch of this, they're going to go into separate demijohns. Once it's finished fermenting, it will be then pulled off into separate demijohns, and each one's going to be flavoured differently. I've got an idea for about 3 of them, so if you want to drop something in the comments as to what you want to see put into one, I'll get hold of it and I'll put it in, as long as it's not something daft like flipping gold leaf or something like that, because I'm not about to put gold leaf in a flipping mead, am I? Because that would just be daft and expensive, and you'd be drinking money, which is kind of counterproductive to brewing your own alcohol, which is, you do it so it's cheaper, don't you? That's what I do it for. Anywho, let's jibber jabber. We've got yeast, we've got 10 bottles of this. Each one of these will then be, once out of the bucket and in the demijohns, they're going to be having half of one of these added to each batch to sweeten it back up to around the 20 mark. 1.020 is where I like my sweetness. It's just the perfect for me. But that's for me. Everyone's got their own take on things. Here I have 5 litres of boiling water. So this is going to be the start water for what we're going to be adding this to. And then once we've added all of this to it, it will then be a lot more easy to mix into the hot water. So let's remove a couple of things that we're not going to need right this second, because I don't want to end up knocking anything. And we do have a lot of honey to be getting in there. So I'm going to pour this water in very carefully because I don't want to burn myself. I'm just going to double check that the tap is off because we don't want hot water leaking everywhere. And in that goes. So I normally use per gallon, it would be 1 litre of hot water. And then obviously you top it up later on with your cold water. Let's just make sure that the tap area has got water in it. And yeah, we're going to start putting some honey in. It's going to take some time, and we will rinse all these out with a bit of hot water as well. I always lick the lids. It's not being used again. Why would you waste any of the honey? So literally bash it in. Get it all in there. I'll do this one in real time and I'll speed up the rest of them. But we are literally putting all of this honey in. 10 bottles of said honey, which is 720 times 10. So if my math is correct, that's 7.2 kilograms, which is a lot of honey. It's a damn lot of honey, which kind of makes me hope that this goes well and doesn't balls up. But I've never knackered a mead up yet. I had 1 beer that I had to throw away, and that was mainly because, I'll put another one in while I'm chatting. I tried to reuse some sour yeast, but it didn't have the sourness, so it didn't kind of balance anything. It fermented, there was alcohol in there, but it just didn't, what's the word? It didn't have the backbone that it was supposed to have, so it was kind of a bit naff. But you know, such is life. You live and learn. Right, so we've got 2 of them in now. I'm going to speed the rest of them up just for the grin, and I'm going to go make sure we've got some hot water ready to rinse these out with. Speed it up. Okay, so all of them are now topped up with some hot water which was taken out of here so we don't add any more heat to it. Otherwise, if it's too hot, you won't be able to pitch your yeast. Now, be very careful at this point because this water is hot. You're going to shake it up. You're going to make sure it's got every little bit of honey out of there. And then once it has, in it goes. I've just got some of that splashed in my eye. So do as I say, not as I do. Luckily, it wasn't all that hot. And then tip it upside down. You might get a little bit more out of it as well. So let me just quickly wipe my eye. This one's sticky honey water. And we're going to do the same with all of these. We're just going to be making sure that we're getting all of the residue out of there. There's no point in being left in the container. We want to ferment it. And again, leave it upside down, you may get a dribble. Let's speed the rest of these up. Okay, so we've got our 7.2 kilograms of honey in there. We've got our hot water, which is now not as hot as it was because it's been exposed for a while, but it's still 32 degrees. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be mixing all of this honey in. I'm going to use this. You don't need this. You could just use a spoon. A spoon would work perfectly fine. I just use this for ease. And you're going to make sure that all of your honey's mixed in good. And a tip for mixing your honey, when you think you've finished, mix some more because there will still be some more. I use this, once I've finished doing the main mix, I'll use this to scoop around the outsides and the corners to see whether we've missed any. So let's give it a good old mix. Turn it up a bit. A bit risky, but it does mix a bit quicker. Oh, this smells so nice. Feels like it's been a long time since I've brewed any mead, to be honest. What I wanted to do was get the other ones out of the way. I had a couple that were in waiting, going through secondary and stuff like that, so I wanted to get them completely out of the way, videos uploaded, so I haven't got them in the back of my mind before I take on 23 litres of mead, which is going to be a lot of work to do the videos for, because once they're in secondary they'll all be separate videos, but the main batch is just going to be all the same, so they should all stay pretty consistent. Fingers crossed. Okay, we have now got that mixed in. We're just going to double check the outsides. We will be mixing again, but we just want to make sure that there's no honey hiding in the corners here, because if there is, you know, we're going to need to carry on mixing a bit longer. But I think turning it up has really done it a good job. Yeah, we are mixed. So now the next step is to add the water up to 23 litres. So let's go get some water. Righto, we are up to the 23 litre mark now. What we need to do is put in some yeast nutrients. Now, it's almost a 5-gallon batch. So per gallon, we're going to be using 1 level teaspoon of yeast nutrients. We use yeast nutrients because honey doesn't have a great deal of nutrients in it itself. So we have to kind of just bolster it up, give it a bit of a helping hand. 1,
2, 3, 4, and 5.
5 level teaspoons for a 5-gallon batch. Yeah. And then we're going to mix it all in with obviously the nutrients in there and the water. Now we're just going to rejig everything back up. Okay, now it's time to pitch the yeast, or check the temperature actually. We're at 26 degrees, which is a little bit higher than what we want to be at. I'll pop the lid on, make sure nothing can get in there, and we'll be back to pitch the yeast in maybe 20 minutes, see where we're at. Need to put the airlock in. All sanitized in the same solution. And that goes on there. And we'll just put it on loosely for now. And this should cool down quite quickly. And we'll be back. Okay, so we are back. It is now down to 22 degrees, which is still a little bit warm, but I'm not bothered. I want to get this sorted because I've got other things to do. So I'm going to remove the airlock again. So then we can put this upside down on there. Just to keep it all sanitary. We're going to get the packet of yeast, wherever that may be, which is here. And as I said, we have 23 litres there. And according to the packet, this should be enough to do all of this mead. Which, if it is, it means that I've been over pitching for a very, very long time. Because I normally use half a packet for a gallon. Which means, you know, you could divide this pack into 5 and get more out of it, I suppose. Yeah, they're not expensive. It's probably about £2 a packet ish. But yeah, now we're going to mix that in, give it one final stir, and then we'll bang the lid on. 7 to 10 days. We'll come back, open it up, take a hygrometer reading, and see where we're at. Okay, so that is the nutrients and the yeast mixed in. Now we're going to take a hydrometer reading so we can plot the course of how much alcohol's in once fermentation has started. Okey-dokey, we're sitting at 92.4.6. I want to say. Yep. 96. This has been sterilised, so that can go back in. And what we're going to do now, we're going to close this up, put the airlock back on, and wait 7 to 10 days. We'll label it up with what it is, date it was started, and we shall go from there. We'll also put in the original gravity of 96. We'll write that on here, and there's no time like the present, so we should do it now. We'll just call this mead en masse. That looked like a P instead of a D, so we'll get rid of that. And again, as I say, this is going to get divided up into 5 different gallon batches, and in secondary, re-sweetened and flavoured with random other things. So yeah, do hit the comments if you want to provide something for me to put in it. Not provide as in you pay for it, I'll pay for it, but I mean ideas of what to actually flavour it with. Today's date is the 1st of October 24. OG, which is original gravity, was 1.096. Now that'll completely ferment out, which is what we'll leave it for. So 10 days, we'll come back, because it's a larger batch, we'll wait the full 10. We'll come back and we'll see what's popping, see what we get. And until then, take it easy.